Lana Rhoades was 27 years old. She lived in a sprawling, minimalist mansion in the Hollywood Hills, an architectural marvel of glass and steel that seemed to hover above the glittering grid of Los Angeles. It was a fortress of success, equipped with a home gym, a screening room, and a walk-in closet larger than the entire Chicago apartment she'd grown up in. Her annual income was a complex web of revenue streams. Though she had officially retired from performing, her legacy films continued to generate massive royalties. Her podcast was a top-downloaded show. Her ownership stake in a popular adult content platform was immensely profitable, and her cosmetics line was a multi-million-dollar enterprise. All combined, she earned well over $3 million a year. She was an icon, a business mogul, a voice for mental health, but the woman who now commanded boardrooms and podcast studios was a far cry from the insecure, love-starved girl from a broken home in Illinois. That girl was named Amara, and her story was one of a desperate, aching search for validation that nearly consumed her whole. She grew up in a working-class suburb of Chicago, in a small, perpetually tense apartment. Her father was a ghost, gone before she could form a memory of him. Her mother, a waitress who worked double shifts, was worn thin by life, her love expressed through worry and constant warnings about the dangers of the world, especially the dangers posed by Amara's own developing body. And what a body it was. By 16, Amara had blossomed into a young woman with a face of startling, almost unreal beauty. She had large, luminous blue eyes, the color of a tropical lagoon, fringed with dark, heavy lashes. Her lips were full and naturally pouty, but it was her body that drew unwanted, overwhelming attention. She was blessed with a tiny, cinched waist that served as a dramatic counterpoint to her wide, curvaceous hips and her famously voluptuous, all-natural breasts. They were large, perfectly shaped, and felt like a curse. Boys stared, men leered, and women, including her mother, judged. She learned to slouch, to wear baggy hoodies, to make herself smaller, to hide the very anatomy that made her feel both powerful and profoundly vulnerable. High school was a special kind of hell. She was simultaneously desired and ostracized. The popular girls called her a slut for simply existing in her own skin. The boys saw her as a trophy, not a person. She craved love, true connection, but found only objectification. She dropped out at 17, her self-esteem in tatters. She worked a series of dead-end jobs: retail, a diner, a telemarketer, each one making her feel more invisible and trapped. The one place she felt a flicker of power was on social media. She created an anonymous account and posted a few tasteful, but revealing, photos. The influx of likes and adoring comments was like a drug. For the first time, the very body she had been taught to be ashamed of was being celebrated. It was a dangerous, intoxicating revelation. The turning point came via a direct message from a man who claimed to be a model scout from Los Angeles. He was charming, persuasive, and told her everything she desperately needed to hear. He said she was the most beautiful girl he'd ever seen, that she was wasting her life in Illinois, that he could make her a star. He promised her a legitimate modeling contract, a place to stay, a future. At 19, drowning in a sea of minimum wage misery and longing for escape, she saw him as her white knight. She packed a single suitcase, told her terrified mother she was going to pursue a career in fashion, and used her last few $100s to buy a plane ticket to LA. The reality was a brutal awakening. The model scout was a small-time, sleazy promoter connected to the underbelly of the adult industry. The apartment was a cramped, dirty room in a shared house with other desperate girls. The contract was a predatory document designed to put her in debt to him. He pressured her immediately to do lingerie shoots, then topless shoots, then implied that real money was in films. The dream curdled into a nightmare. She felt trapped, her savings gone, alone in a city that felt vast and indifferent. The promoter, seeing her resistance, turned cruel, using manipulation and threats to break her down. It was her lowest point, a time of paralyzing fear and despair. Salvation came from an unexpected source, one of the other girls in the house. A veteran performer named Chloe, who had seen this story play out too many times. Seeing the fresh fear in Amara's wide blue eyes, Chloe took pity on her. One night, she sat her down and gave her a brutal, honest education. "This man is a leech," Chloe said, gesturing to the promoter's room. "The real industry isn't like this. There are real agencies, real studios, real money. And you don't have to answer to scum like him. Chloe helped her secretly gather her things and escape in the middle of the night, connecting her with a legitimate, professional agency. Walking into the reputable agency was like entering a different world. It was clean, professional, and the agent, a no-nonsense woman named Brenda, treated her with respect. Brenda saw her potential immediately. "You have a look that is very in demand," Brenda said, her eyes appraising but not lecherous. "But the industry is tough. You need to be smart. You need to be in control. And you need a name. Something strong. Something memorable." Together, they chose Lana Rhoades. It sounded classic, elegant, and strong. It was a name fit for a star. Her first professional shoot was a revelation. It was organized, respectful, and the director worked with her to create a performance. The paycheck was $5,000. As she held the envelope of cash, a profound shift occurred within her. This wasn't exploitation. This was a transaction where she held the power. She was being paid, and paid handsomely, for the very thing that had once made her a target. It was the ultimate reclamation. The insecure Amara began to recede, and Lana Rhoades, the confident, ambitious performer, was born. She was done being a victim. She was ready to conquer. The rise of Lana Rhoades was meteoric. The industry had been waiting for a girl like her, a bombshell with a girl-next-door charm, whose stunning blue eyes could convey both innocent vulnerability and fierce passion. Her natural, voluptuous figure became her trademark, celebrated on magazine covers and in award-winning scenes. She embraced the persona of Lana Rhoades fully, her past insecurities buried under a layer of professional ambition and newfound financial independence. She bought her mother a house, a tangible symbol of her success that finally, after many difficult conversations, began to bridge the gap between them. She quickly learned the business, understanding that longevity meant diversifying. She launched her website, building a direct relationship with her fans that made her one of the highest-earning performers in the world. She invested in real estate and the stock market. She was celebrated, wealthy, and seemingly on top of the world. But the ghosts of Amara were not so easily silenced. The industry, for all its professional front, was a pressure cooker. The constant scrutiny of her body, the endless comparisons to other performers, and the dark, toxic underbelly of online commentary began to chip away at her hard-won confidence. She started to feel the same objectification she had felt in high school, only now it was global, amplified by the internet. This time, her salvation came from within. She checked herself into a quiet, exclusive therapy retreat. For the first time in years, she stopped. She put away her phone, ignored the industry news, and focused solely on herself. In therapy, she began the painful work of unpacking her past, the abandonment by her father, the complex relationship with her mother, the trauma of her early days in LA, the toxic patterns in her relationships. She learned to separate her self-worth from her body and her career. She learned that it was okay to be vulnerable, that strength wasn't about being invincible, but about being authentic. She emerged from this period a transformed woman. She officially announced her retirement from performing, not with a scandal, but with a powerful, heartfelt statement on her podcast about mental health and the importance of personal growth. She redirected her formidable energy into her business ventures, now with a new sense of purpose. Her podcast became a platform for honest discussions about therapy, anxiety, and the realities of the industry she had left behind. She used her experience to advocate for better mental health resources for performers. Now, at 27, Lana Rhoades has found a peace she never thought possible. The woman in the Hollywood Hills mansion is a blend of both Amara and Lana. She has the street-smart business acumen of Lana, but she now carries the quiet self-assurance and hard-won wisdom of Amara, who has finally been acknowledged and healed. She is in a healthy, private relationship and is a devoted mother, determined to break the cycles of her own childhood. Her blue eyes, once a symbol of either innocence or seduction, now hold a deeper, more complex light, one of experience, resilience, and hard-earned peace. Her story is not just one of fame and fortune. It is a raw, modern parable about the cost of success, the journey to self-love, and the powerful act of reclaiming not just your body, but your entire soul. She didn't just build an empire. She had to